Hi, I'm Hugh from SRI, and this video we're going to show you how to do the Autosampler queue, or introduce you to the Autosampler queue. So I'll launch Peak Simple, and to make the Autosampler queue work, you actually have to be connected to a GC or at least some kind of A to D board, some kind of SRI A to D board, because this won't work without some kind of actual real-time connection. So the Autosampler queue is useful for a variety of reasons, and to get there you go View and then Autosampler, right? So this is the Autosampler screen. Now, what the Autosampler does is it lets you sequence control files. So what is a control file? A control file is the master method file. So if I change the number of minutes on the screen, for instance, or I change the number of millivolts on the y-axis, something has to remember that I did that, and that's the control file. It remembers everything about Peak Simple. So you can have as many control files as you like. Yet Peak Simple always launches with the control file called default.conf. And see, it says that right here. It says the folder that we launch from, the name of the data file, the default data file, and the name of the control file. But we can have many more control files if we want. So for instance, just as an example, I'm going to change the color, the behind color here, to yellow. So I'll go Edit Colors, and then the background color, I'll make that yellow. Okay, so now I'm going to save the control file under some different name, right? I'm going to call it POS1, which would mean potentially position 1 if we were sampling from one stream and then a second stream and then a third stream. I might call them position 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. So it's just a nice short name. So I'm going to go File and then Save Control File, and then I'm going to save it under this name of POS1. If I didn't already have it, I would just type that in, POS1, right, and then click Save. Okay, so it says it already exists. Okay, so now I'm going to do it again. I'm going to make another control file that has a different color. So I'm going to go, well, before that I want to check something. Yeah, okay. This wouldn't happen in real life, but to make the video shorter, I've set the time that it takes to do a complete analysis to 0.1 minutes, right? That's only 6 seconds. So this control file, when I start the analysis, would only run for 6 seconds and then it would stop. And that's not realistic, but that makes it quicker to show you how this works. Okay, so that's good. I've got that, and the control file remembers that particular temperature program. So now I'm just going to change the color again. So I'm going to go Edit Colors and then Background, and then I'm going to pick a blue color. Right? So now we've got a blue control file, and I'm going to save that control file as position 2. And I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to go to Edit Colors and Background, and then we'll pick a purple. So we'll have yellow, blue, purple. Okay, and we'll save that as control file position 3. Okay, so now I have 3 different control files, and I can make a list of those, right? So I'm going to go View, Autosampler, and then I'm going to click Add. Right, so I'm going to add default control file, not default control file POS1 is what I'm added. Gives me an opportunity to change anything if I wanted to. The main thing would be for like a sample weight. If you had measured into an autosampler different amounts of things, but you calibrated at one level and you wanted to modify the answer based on the weight of what you put into your sample, this gives you an opportunity to do that right here. It gives you other things too, but that's the main purpose. Okay, so now I've got position 1.control in my list. So I'm going to add again and go position 2, same thing, and then add again and go position 3. Okay, so you can have as many as you want in the list, but we're just going to do 3 just so it's easy to show you how this works. And I'm going to save this list. So I'm going to hit Save, and then I'm going to call it Video. And so now if I ever wanted to get this list back, I could just go Load, and then I have that video.queue, which is the list of control files. It doesn't know what's in the control file, but it knows the order that the control files are are loaded in this list. Okay, so when I'm ready, I'm going to hit the start button, and what should happen is the first control file should be loaded. It should wait 0.1 minutes. Actually, let's speed that up. I'm going to make that 0.03 minutes, just so it happens faster. I don't want to go so fast that you can't see what's happening, but there's no point in extra unnecessary delay either. So then it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then if I tell it here to restart at the end, right, I can tell it either to go through the list a certain number of times, or I can leave it at 0, which lets it go through continuously until I come back. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. So on your mark, get set, and then we hit start. So you see it loaded the yellow control file, and it's going to be over here at 0.1 minutes. Okay, so that's over. Now it's going to, oh, now it loaded the blue control file, and it's the same thing. It's going to run for 0.1 minutes and then stop, and then it's going to wait 0.3 and then load the purple one. And if everything's working good, then it'll go back to the top and it'll start over again. So this can be very useful for lots of process kinds of applications. For instance, you're measuring the sample going into a filter, and then you're switching and measuring the sample going out of the filter, and then you're switching to a zero gas, and then you're switching to a calibration gas, and then you're going back to the inlet and the outlet and around the loop a million times. So it's very useful for applications like that where you want to have the GC do something that's different in each location, right? I'm going to stop this so it stops making noise at us. So the main way that you would modify the control file to do this would be that you would go Edit, Channels, and you would modify the event table, right? So an event table is things that happen during the analysis. So it's very common to want to move a valve from position A to position B, or position 1 to position 5. So the event table is the means by which you do that, right? So each event table would have a different name, and each control file would remember the name of the event table. So the control file might be identical in every respect, except for the fact that position 1 remembers a different event table than the control file in position 2. And that's how you get the streams to actually change, or the sample to switch from the one sample to the other. So that's a short introduction. There's other things you can do with the Autosampler queue, but for this video, that's enough information. So thank you for your attention.